Welcome to the next episode of The Professor and the Princess. We are your hosts. This is the lovely Aunrée.
Oh, look at that.
And I am Randi.
Hey, Randi.
Hi. So we're here to talk about what it means to be truly human. Not AI type human, but truly human. Because, at this point, you can't always tell.
I don't know why I did the robot when you said the AI
Well,
human.
because AI, right.
Exactly.
But we want to be human in a world that never stops changing. Whether it's culture or tech or identity, emotion. We want to dig into how we love, how we struggle, how we grow, and how we try to stay grounded in all the noise and chaos. So please join us as we decode cultural change. Today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is suffering.
Oh.
The suffering norm. Let my people go. I come from a long line of sufferers.
Yeah.
Culturally speaking, we have been suffering for centuries and centuries and centuries. And in fact, I read an article not that long ago that said that if you are Jewish, it is 1,000% in your DNA that you have more anxiety, more flight, fright, or freeze, and more negativity in your DNA because of that generational trauma of literally centuries of being persecuted, murdered, exiled, burned out of your village, blah, blah, blah.
Paranoia, yeah.
The idea of at any moment, the other shoe's going to drop, have your go bag ready, like this kind of constant state of anxiety. And if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I felt any of that, I would have laughed at you and said no. But I think that has changed for me a lot in the last couple of years. Some of it because of the happenings in the world and the rise of anti-Semitism and the rise of, not feeling safe anymore in this country.
Yeah.
But part of it is my own, as we talked about, my own evolution in, digging deep into myself and realizing that suffering is truly not only part of my DNA and my life experience, but my family and my world. So I was kind of kidding before saying suffering is my middle name. I don't want that to be...
It's like doom, doom, doom.
Right, to be... I mean, I joke, but I do think I'm very comfortable in a state of suffering because I'm used to it.
I'm so fucking happy you said that because as you were speaking, that's what was coming to me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
comfortable.
listening to the professor talk about the comfortability of it, right? And I think that more people have become comfortable with suffering than anything.
1,000%. So tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, just saying, because I wasn't going to go the cultural route. I was going to go like relational and also my own obsession with suffering, because I'll say that I enjoy watching funerals. I enjoy watching people cry and pass out at funerals and who love them more, who want, I don't know. It gets crazy. I'm like literally watching videos on social media.
Oh, you mean people you don't even know?
I don't know. I don't have to know. It's better if I don't know you. But if I'm at a funeral, right, especially like a good old black funeral, right, where it's great. I'm there to watch people come in, get to the casket and pass out. Right. The suffering of it all is like, oh, my God. I can't really watch people like bleeding in a hospital. Like it's not
thankfully,
that kind of. Yeah, I know. Because then it's psycho. Right.
Then I'm starting to worry about you.
Yeah, exactly. Like this show is going a different route. Or Aunrée might not return to season 3.
Season 3, new Aunrée.
From the padded room. So it's a very interesting thing. But going to the cultural piece, I think that I feel that way, too, about some black folks, especially when we talk about his history, right? And the historical nature of it. It's almost like sometimes we hold on to the suffering that black people went through as almost a badge of honor.
Correct.
Right? To keep meaning. And that shit drives me nuts. I don't think it's a good reason, right? But I do think, and also to have conversations about, look, racism and discrimination is its own thing and it's real, right? Systemic racism. But then psychologically, I do feel like there's this piece where we're just like, oh, no, that's what we do. We suffer. So it's kind of a part of it.
It's kind of the role that you play in the world.
Yeah.
That's how I see my culture as well. Like we are the cause for all ills in the world. So we're ready to just, but that's
intense.
But that's how you feel, but you also have to be able to rise up against that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the dichotomy of suffering and happiness, right? So to your point, although I'm not really sure I understand the part about watching funerals, but I'm going to let that go.
Okay, next episode, judgment.
No, I'm going to let that go for now and just say, okay.
But when I come to a funeral in your family, I'm not there
That's
for.
different, right.
Okay, I want you to know that I'm not watching. Well, maybe. Oh, carry on. No, I digress.
Yes. Anyway, I do think that we as an American culture have become addicted to suffering. When you see people, friends, colleagues, whatever, and you say, how are you? Just, how you doing? How was your weekend? Whatever. Either you're going to get, oh, it's good, I'm fine. Or you're going to get, oh my God, so my dog died, and then my house blew up, and then my car crashed, and people will unload on you with all their suffering, and you're just like, oh, okay, glad to see you too.
Exactly.
You know, there's this kind of open door of just letting it all hang out. I'm not sure I like that.
No, never.
Like, I'm fine. It's just fine with me.
Yeah, like when we ask somebody, how are you doing? Are we really...
We don't really want to know.
Right. And I don't think that people will ever really want to know. And then I'm so bad that I do want to know, but I don't want to hear you're suffering.
Right. I want to hear that you went apple picking.
You had donuts and matcha, and you're happy all the time.
Right. And if you're suffering, as an empath, I'm here for you.
Right.
But then it just starts to feel heavy on me.
Right.
And I feel like I already have my own, which is why when you share something that's going on in your life and the response is, oh, wow, you can never catch a break. That feels icky because the person is validating your suffering rather than saying, yeah, I know this is probably a rough patch, but just like everything else, it will shift and things will be okay again soon, which is that kind of encouragement you look for when you are suffering, not the, oh, yeah, your life really does suck.
Oh, my God. But then it also shows that if we're talking about suffering or looking at suffering as a norm, a response like that to someone suffering, to me, it feels like there is an addiction to suffering. Let's just keep this shit going. Right.
Let's keep it going.
Right. Or people making it about themselves. And it's an opportunity that if you're suffering, then I can jump on a bandwagon.
Right.
The suffering.
Let's suffer together.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of one of those moments. That's what comes to mind when you say that. Whereas I'm trying to avoid it.
And then there are those who will not allow you to suffer.
Yes.
Without them having. So I would say to like a boss, I have a headache. I have a migraine.
Oh, they top it,
like
right?
They have to. Theirs has. I got a flat tire. Well, my car was totaled.
Exactly.
There's that. Like I have to one up you in the suffering.
Are there awards for suffering? Like yes.
I don't have any.
Your suffering is worse than mine. But I think that there's an addiction to that as well, an obsession with just people suffer. Like people want to say, I have it worse than you. We hear it in conversations about the Holocaust and slavery.
Which, by the way, there's no comparison. They're two very different things.
Exactly. And they both
suck. Really, really bad.
situations, right? But I've been a part of conversations. I don't get into those conversations as far as contributing to them. But I hear like friends talk about it, my Jewish friends and black friends when they get together, not all of them, but some who get together and be like, well, this was worse. And I'm like, well, both groups of people suffered. How dare you qualify it based upon your suffering is worse than the next? Like, I just think it's problematic. I wouldn't say yours is worse than mine, but it was bad.
They're both pretty fucking bad.
Yeah. And that's an understatement.
And that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The one thing I want to jump on suffering too when it comes down to even relational, and Randy, bring me back if you need to share more on the cultural piece in the history, is I think couples sometimes, they thrive off of suffering as well. I got a friend who has been with his boyfriend for some time now, and he complains about him quite often. And I said, why don't you just leave?
Right.
If it's not working, right? And he's like, no, because this is normal. And I'm like, well, I hear more suffering than I hear positive, and that's subjective as well. But it feels like you're like having a hard time in this relationship and you won't like leave him. But there is this level of this is our life and this is how it is. And although the good times went from like 80% to like 30, and the rest of the time we're like struggling through things, I'm staying. I'm not leaving. Which I'm like, fine, that's great as long as you're clear about it. But I think that's where suffering almost becomes
normalized.
Yeah. And is it that bad? I don't know.
I think that most couples are exactly in that spot that you're referring to.
Really? So the 30% happiness or 30%.
I think that's
fruitful.
Ambitious, yeah.
Ooh,
I think and I'm not saying that with any like salty bitterness or anything.
Doesn't. You're not.
I think that just from my own experience and the people that I know, it's like you're swimming with the flow. And it's easier just to swim with the flow than go against it. And so I don't even know that I would call that suffering. I would call it more indifference or just like whatever. It is what it is. Don't know that it's suffering, but it's certainly not pleasant or enjoyable.
What's the opposite of not pleasurable or pleasurable and enjoy?
Neutral.
Really?
Maybe. Well, there are some instances where it's downright suffering.
Right.
And then there's others where it's just like, okay.
So that acceptance
I can handle it. Yeah.
But can you suffer when you're neutral?
Maybe.
Right? Because the emotion
it's a
of
good
it.
question. I guess.
I mean, look, I've been in relationships where I'm accepting things. I'm even now in the situation that I'm in, and it's not a situation, it's truly like a great connection. Every now and then I think about when the other shoe is going to drop.
Right.
And when am I going to be
'cause you're
suffering?
Jewish.
Exactly. Shalom.
Yes, shalom. Anyway.
Sorry. Keep going.
No,
I'm sorry. I
you have
interrupted.
nothing to be sorry about.
You were in the flow.
I wasn't in the flow. We were just talking about this idea that we, as Americans, as Black Americans, as Jewish Americans, I can only speak for those three.
As Black,
that's
Jewish,
us,
gay
right?
Americans, yeah.
Gay Americans, right? I think we are conditioned to, whether we like it or not is not the issue. I think it's that we are comfortable, and that was the word you used before, with the idea that life is to be endured and suffered through versus embraced, right? And I try to, one of the things I try to do every day is take whatever lack I feel that I have in my life and turn it into a perspective of abundance, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
That is one of the hardest things I've ever done, to try to take that suffering, if you will, and find the good parts of it and say, well, yeah, this is really shitty right now, but this other stuff is pretty great. So you're gonna even those scales, and you're gonna be grateful and have gratitude and feel good about the fact that, yeah, this one thing is not going so great, but this other thing is.
Yeah.
That's what I think we have to do to survive. To me, that's the work, is the resilience of the suffering. How do we bounce back from it, or how do we navigate through it without losing ourselves? And that's the hard part. Because you could just go down with it, right?
Yeah.
And
Like
I know a lot of
sinking
people
ship.
who do.
Very Titanic.
They take to their bed, or they withdraw from socializing, or they kind of isolate or whatever. These young kids are doing bed rotting now, where they just lay in bed all day and watch TV.
It just sounds disgusting.
That's what they call it, right?
My son is bed rotting now. I love you, son.
But anyway, like, to me, the work is to not let it take you down.
Yeah.
How do you rise above it? So how can I see what's going on in this country, in this world, and still not let it take me down and ruin my weekend, or ruin my evening, or my time with you, or whatever, because I'm resilient and I rise above the suffering, despite the fact that it is very comforting in a way, because I'm used to it. And I know that sounds crazy.
It does.
But it's true.
I mean, that's the other reason why it sounds crazy, because it's very true.
Right.
Because I'm thinking about a very evocative question is, where and how do we appreciate suffering? Like, is there room to it? Instead of it being a norm, because norm is like, should there be a level? Because, for Christ's sake, I've learned some of the best lessons in life through suffering, right? Do I want to live in that state? Like happiness? Hell no. However, I don't want to be afraid of suffering.
No, I think that's right.
That makes sense?
You don't want to shy away from it.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to not honor the reason that you are suffering.
Right.
So God forbid you lose a parent, you lose a relationship that meant a lot to you, the relationship ends, or somebody suddenly dies in your life that you were close to. suffering is also part of the healing, right?
There it is.
And without the suffering, you can't heal. You just kind of push it down and ignore it and pretend it didn't happen.
But I think about people dying of diseases, right? And like suffering through those moments. And then there's always an opportunity to find a reason to, I don't know, appreciation and joy or something, right? That we can lean into to say during this suffering, but I think that's very different. Like during the suffering, how do we find things to be that we appreciate or find just moments that we're like happy about in the suffering? Is it just about the lesson when people are suffering with like diseases, et cetera? We were talking about like HIV and back in AIDS, like, and those folks who were just like losing people, and kind of what do we take from that level of suffering? That's a wee bit deep. So, I don't want to go that dark into it, but it's so real in so many ways. I'm just thinking about people with cancer and, you know, all the things, people aging, like older folks who don't have people to support them and be there for them. That's the thing I think about. That level of suffering, a kind of suffering, is very hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. And where can we find any kind of appreciation in those moments? You know?
That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
As a person who has been through things, not like, you know, to the extreme like that, but you do have to dig very, very deep. You do. And it's
why do we dig deep when we're in those suffering moments?
Because you have to. Because if you don't, you go down with the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think if you have an illness or you have an issue, your attitude is going to make a big difference in terms of the way you navigate that illness and whether or not you can bounce back or not. You know? And if you're negative and you think, oh, I'm just going to die anyway, I think you have to be resilient.
That mindset.
You have to. It's almost like you have to trick yourself into thinking that everything's going to be okay, even if you don't believe it. And I have a friend who's going through that right now. And she called me this morning and was talking about David Yurman and Cartier and right.
If you can find the light, I'm with your friend. I love your friend.
But you know what I mean? Like because she needed something else to think about.
Yes.
And I was all in it for her because that's what she needed from me at that moment, to talk about jewelry. And that's okay. So you do whatever you have to do. You find the resources you have to find to push through it.
Because suffering is inevitable.
Yes.
It's how we move through it. Right? And what we pull from it. I love that. I love that. And to me, that's a mic drop moment.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like, you know, so my God. So good.
We have a lot of mic drop moments here.
I mean, we do, which is it's such a moment, but it's so real. And I love the fact that we have real conversation to connect to people, the depth of who we are as people. Okay, Randy?
I'm okay.
Okay, good. Just want to check in.
I'm just trying not to suffer.
Listen, all the things. Guys, thank you so much for leaning in with us here too. So remember, it's less about having the answers, right? And it's always about asking the questions. Was I supposed to close this or were you supposed to close this?
No, you're good.
We do it together?
You're good.
Together. We're not suffering. So until next time, right, keep watching the world with your eyes wide open.
I love that.
Yes.
Au revoir.